Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be why you should date women who live near you, especially when you're just starting out to apply the things that I talk about in my book and all of my YouTube videos and my articles on my website. And the reason is that you want to practice these skills, because the only way you're going to get better with women, the only way you're going to build your confidence, the only way you're going to get good and comfortable in your own skin at either asking for phone numbers and then later calling women for a date, or being really bold and making dates right on the spot and maybe even having a date that same night or that same afternoon after you meet somebody. You got to practice this stuff. You've got to interact with enough women. You've got to start conversations with enough women. You've got to ask enough women for their phone numbers. You've got to set enough dates with enough women, because you literally have to go out and interact with dozens and dozens of women over the course of several weeks and months, because this is how you learn to develop your sensory acuity. This is how you learn to recognize women you have a chance with and women that you don't. And after you go out on enough dates with enough different women, you will see the difference between women who really like you and women who are just going out with because it's better than staying at home looking at the four walls. The women who are just going out with you who have low interest, they're not going to be as open, they're not going to talk as much, they're not going to make as much effort to keep a conversation going. Whereas women that really dig you and are really into you to start out with, when the conversation starts to get a little dull or a little stale, they're going to work to keep it going. But those that have a low level of interest, they're simply not going to make an effort. And I've got an email here from a guy who lives in the UK, and he's just found out about my work. I think I've answered a couple emails for him in the past. But he lives in the UK, and he's met a girl who lives in California. That's like about as far away from each other as you can get, because I lived in Florida, and I dated a woman in the UK for a couple of years that I wrote about in my book. And it's like a 14, 15-hour travel just to get from where she is to where I was. And I'm in Florida, and from Florida, it's another 5 hours or so to get to California. So you're basically talking like 24 hours just to physically get from one location where you both are to actually physically get together. And see, the problem is that you start talking to somebody over the internet who lives on the other side of the planet and interacting with them, what happens is it's a way of bullshitting yourself and keeping yourself out of a relationship, and because you're not going to be improving your skills and getting better with it, because you're not actually meeting anybody locally, you're not actually going out on dates, you're not going for kisses, you're not hooking up and seducing women, you're not able to learn and develop the body language skills that you need to create attraction, or being able to read her body language to communicate whether or not or how comfortable she feels with you. And a lot of guys get in these situations, like I did another video earlier today with a guy who thinks he's in a relationship with a woman that lives on the other side of the country, but they've never met physically, and he talks about her like she's his girlfriend, yet they've never met. And he talks about things like in terms of a relationship when all they've really got is a phone ship. And they're for the most part, they're just texting each other back and forth. I mean, if you want a pen pal, that's great, but you're just going to end up with blue balls, and you're probably going to never end up meeting the person if you're doing things of that nature, because your skills are never getting any better. If you're not actually going out on dates and trying to kiss women and hook up and seduce with them, you're never going to get any better. And so he says, "Hey, Corey, I started speaking with a girl in California, and I think she's amazing. I like her a lot, man, but I live in the UK. How do I win her heart? I know not to mention anything about wanting to be with her, yet anyway, but when would be the right time to express how much that I like her? How long do I wait, man? Let me know." I mean, at the end of the day, if you're talking to this girl in California, somebody's going to have to travel to see you. You're either going to have to go see her, or she's going to have to come see you. And my attitude towards that is like, hey, you should come over and see me in the UK. When are you free to come over and hang out for a couple of days or a weekend or a week, whatever? And if she's not open to that, then you really need to move on to the next girl, because what you're doing is you're bullshitting yourself, and you're getting yourself all wrapped up emotionally in this girl who's really a pen pal, because she's literally on the other side of the planet. And I can speak from experience dating women that live on other continents. I mean, at some point, like especially in the United States, if you're dating somebody and you live in the United States who happens to live in another country, you're only allowed to stay here for about 90 days, and then you got to go back. And if you come back a couple of weeks later and spend another 90 days, you might get away with it for 2 or 3 times. But like the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time that they come over, what you're going to find out is that the immigration people are going to give your girlfriend or your boyfriend, whatever it happens to be, a harder and harder time each time they come over, because what they're trying to make sure is that they're not coming over here and working here in the country, because people used to abuse the law in the past where they'd come over here, they'd stay for 90 days, they'd work a job, they'd take a week off from work, they'd fly back to where they're at, and then a week later they fly back into the States and they go back to work, and they want to make sure that you're not working here illegally or being here in the States. And it's totally at the whim of the person in immigration, because if they're just having a bad day, I mean, they have total authority, and some of these people are fucking egomaniacs, and they'll just look at you and say, you know what, I think you've been here too many times, and we're not letting you in, and you have to buy a ticket and actually fly back that day. They just simply won't let you in the country. And that can be nerve-wracking as hell, especially when you haven't seen your girl in a few months and you want to see her, and then you're sitting at the airport waiting and wondering, are they going to let her through in immigration? And so at some point, you either have to get married or you have to break up and go your separate ways. And that just simply got to be the point where one of my girlfriends that I wrote about in my book, that's where it got to, because she still wanted to go to college. She looked at going to college over here, and it would have taken her 7 years to get the same degree that she could have gotten in 4.5 years over in the UK. I mean, at the end of the day, I wasn't ready to get married, and I don't think she was at the point where she wanted to get married, and that was the end of the relationship. We're still great friends to this day, but at some point, somebody's got to move, and if you're dating somebody that's in the States, you're going to have to get married, because you can't keep going back and forth without that. And so I would encourage you to date women locally, and that tells me what you're doing is internet dating. You need to get your fucking ass off your sofa. You need to get your ass out in front of your computer screen or your video games, and go to the mall and start practicing the things that I talk about. I did a video a while back called Improving Your Social Skills. Go there and learn to start striking up conversations with women who actually live locally in your city, so you can go out on dates, so you can hook up with women, so you can practice your skills of seduction, because it's just simply a matter of time. When you practice things I teach, you'll meet a really great girl. You'll fall for her, she'll fall for you, but it won't happen unless you're actually going out on dates, unless you're actually asking women for their phone numbers or asking them to set up a date right on the spot. You got to practice your skills, because you're not going to get any better if you're not interacting with women physically in your location where you live at. So if you have a question that you want to ask me, or there's a topic you want me to cover in a future video newsletter, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which is going to be on the left-hand side of your screen. Send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max detailing your questions, your situation, your challenges. And you just got to give me several days to get back to you with a response, because I get a lot of email from the internet, and I also get a lot of it from my paying phone coaching customers. But be patient, and I will get back to you. And if you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. And you can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which is going to be at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. If you want to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, go to my website, and underneath the email sign-up box, there will be a link that will take you to the Amazon Kindle download page. Once you get there, on the right-hand side is a button that will enable you to download a free Kindle e-reader app, because you don't have to have a Kindle device to read my book. All you have to do is download one of their free Kindle e-reader apps for your Android smartphone, your iPhone, your Mac, your PC, or whatever device you want to read my book on. It takes a matter of seconds to download the app, and then after you've downloaded the app, it takes a few more seconds to download my book, and you'll be reading it in no time. And I will talk to you soon.